Radio Café. Ride with us every last Friday night of the month. Cruise the airwaves and savor the sound on Radio Café. A place where we vibe to the rhythms and savor the beats, from hidden gems to classic all-stars. On Radio Café. Kick back and enjoy the ride. Experience the flavor through sound. On Radio Café.
Makwali Wali. Buenas noches, mi gente. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of La Onda Bajita, Radio Café. I'm your host, Xotchitl Bernadette Moreno, and this evening I have the deep pleasure and honor of being joined by Winter Jendayi. Winter is a ceremonialist, a musician, a moon dancer who works in the healing arts, and she blends the ancestral traditions of her own with the different indigenous traditions with which she has studied, and is going to present to us today some of the works from your album, Y los Sagrados. I'm very, very excited to hear about all of this work and your work with Altar de Coscatlán. Welcome, welcome, Winter.
Thank you so much. Really happy to be here.
It's truly an honor to bless the space, bless the airwaves. So I would love to begin our conversation with hearing about some of your own ancestry, the blood that flows in your veins, those that have walked before you. If you can share with us about your own lineage.
Yes, of course. So on my father's side, we have peoples of Black and Cherokee ancestry. And on my mother's side, Celtic and Italian. And so this embodiment in this lifetime has been the medicine of weaving, of just all those different bloodlines and tuning into all the different ancestral paths of those bloodlines.
So important. And when we confront our world, the world in front of us, it is so vitally important to connect to that ancestral lineage, that ancestral line, and to connect not only, by knowing the names of our ancestors, although I obviously, please ask your grandparents, ask your parents, do that genealogical work, but also going deeper and studying the ways of one's people. So I know that though that's not the full embodiment of the work that you bring, could you also speak about the works and lineages in which you have studied, some of the different cultural and indigenous traditions that are present in your work?
Yeah. So it began with more of the North American indigenous tribes and traditions, studying in the Native American church and just those different ways. And even though it wasn't so specific to Cherokee, that's definitely where that part of my ancestry was very activated, and just the traditions of Turtle Island. And then also having a study with a Brazilian lineage, which really led me down there, which was such an opening into all the other lineages that are also present in Brazil. And so different studies with the Hunikuin, Yawanawa, and also some studies in Colombia as well. And then one of my really main and big paths as a pillar for me is also my moon dance lineage of study, which is the Mexica lineage, and also it is bringing in some of the Lakota energy through the structure of the dance. And so all of these have brought me through them into another way to connect with my own ancestry. And I should also say the Candomblé tradition also, which has really rooted me in the African ancestry.
Yes, the Candomblé present. So, for some of our listeners out there who, might not be so familiar with these traditions or these ways, could you elaborate on what some of this study and what some of this path looks like? What does it mean to be a ceremonialist? What does it mean to, in the day-to-day life, embody this work and this cultural weaving, these
It's
hilos sagrados?
exactly, yeah, it's a journey, and for me, and I think for most people, it starts out with a path of healing. And as I was starting out, I didn't have in my mind at all that this would become something like my whole life, really. It's just a path of healing. And through the healing and the awakening that happens through the healing and the transformation, just so much is revealed. And ultimately, it's bringing me back to my remembrance of self and my ancestry and the magic of the unseen realms. And so I would say first the journey is just my own healing. And at some point through the continuous showing up, then the study begins. And through the first layer, beginning to learn these ways a bit more and then begin to pay attention more to what's going on, and the study begins. And through that, over years, building relationships and beginning to show up time and time again to the same elders, and then they extend and doors open. And through all of that, eventually coming into that place of how does this birth uniquely from me out into the world again?
I like this birthing and rebirthing and these cycles. So let's just dig a little deeper, though. What from whether it's the moon dance tradition or the cotamble or some of the more South American Brazilian traditions. What are some of the places and spaces that you find yourself, from a temascal to a hape circle? Bring our listeners along.
Yeah, I mean, one of I guess the staple over these years, because other lineages have fluctuated, but the one that's been really rooted is the moon dance lineage. And this is a prayer. It's 4 days, 4 nights, and my dance happens every February full moon. So that's really become this anchor and this pillar. And so just yeah, it's a very mystical experience. It's going into a portal for 4 days, surrounded by others who are there to pray.
Yes.
And it's also learning how to pray again. And being in the Temescal, which is the sweat lodge, and going in, and that's our way of cleansing and purifying ourselves. Dancing all night long under the full moon, smoking our chanupas, which are the sacred pipes, and learning how to work with tobacco as a way of prayer and returning to the original use of this plant. And through that, receiving teachings and just going through that healing and praying for the collective. So that's an example of just maybe a window into a mystical experience.
Thank you for sharing. I know that, on my own healing journey and my own healing path as a moon dancer, and it's so good to share this space with you, my sister, um, that, yeah, people can be curious because it's one thing to, say, yes, I'm a pipe carrier, I'm a moon dancer, I, work in this way. And it's such a beautiful opportunity to then share a little bit more so that people can understand and spark that curiosity in their own lives. And, you know, that that spark is something that I felt so present in your music. And when I heard the song Familia, which is, one of, let's say it's the title track of your album, it really brought together so many of these different hilos sagrados, so many elements of this beautiful cultural tapestry, this beautiful tapestry of healing. And so I was hoping that you might bless us with that song.
Yes, of course. y la palabra del alcohol. Todo es sagrado. Rezo a la luna. Mi alma canta la canción de la familia de Pachamama, la familia que reza al sol y la luna, a la madre tierra. Plantas sagradas me curan, medicina sagrada me guía a lo largo del camino rojo. Dentro de mi corazón, vida es una oración. La oración es la familia es amor. Amor es Pachamama. Todo es sagrado. Rezo en la mañana el vuelo del colibrí y el poder de búfalo. Todo es sagrado. Rezo al sol. Mi espíritu baila la danza de la familia de Pachamama, la familia que reza al sol y la luna, a la madre tierra. Plantas sagradas me curan, medicina sagrada me guía a lo largo del camino rojo. Dentro de mi corazón, vida es una oración. La oración es la familia es amor. Amor es Pachamama. Todo es sagrado. Rezo con tabaco por la tierra y el fuego, por el agua y el viento. La rueda medicina, rueda de la vida. Todo es sagrado. Rezo con mi chalupa para los ancianos y niños, el pasado y futuro, el corazón de la familia de Pachamama, la familia que reza al sol y la luna, a la madre tierra. Plantas sagradas me curan, medicina sagrada me guía a lo largo del camino rojo. Dentro de mi corazón, vida es una oración. La oración es la familia es amor. Amor es Pachamama. Todo es sagrado. La familia de Pachamama, la familia que reza, la familia es sagrada. La familia es sagrada.
Ew. Tlazo kamati. Thank you. That was the voice of Winter Jendayi here on KPFA's La Onda Bajitas Radio Café. Oh, My heart is warm. My body is tingling. I feel the presence of La Familia Sagrada here with us. Thank you, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. It's amazing the power that music has to transform hardship, suffering, la pesadez, cuando algo es bien pesado. Y, you know, as we're coming into this time, this fall time, this time of coming more into ourselves and into, the shedding of the summer, the shedding of all of those outward energies. It's always, a miracle to me, what music can do to just help soothe that process. So perhaps you could begin to share with us about process, the process that you underwent to create such a beautiful offering. How did you, cómo tejiste estos hilos sagradas? How did you weave these sacred threads?
Yeah, thanks for that question. It's my musical journey. I mean, music was present for me my entire life, but this, cultivating this prayer and music becoming a way of transmitting my journey through healing, this has been more recent. And the first years, it was very lonely. It was a very lonely journey. I was living on 80 acres of land in kind of the middle of nowhere, and just really surrounded by the earth. And I would just spend hours really tuning in with my guitar because I had that space for it. And the songs would come. And for me, it's a way of painting memory, of painting experiences. A lot of times, the spirit of the song comes as a visual thing. So to create it is what words and melodies can I choose that will really paint this picture? And so it's been beautiful because this album is also like a journal. It's documenting my journey over so many years. And not only are the songs speaking to my unique experiences, but they are also a way of preserving the teachings. And sometimes I don't even know that I have this understanding of some kind of sacred technology until it comes through in this song, and then I realize that's the teaching, and then that song marks that for me in my life. So I can go back and track throughout the album, oh, this is the time when the Orisha started coming in after I went to Brazil. Or like, oh, this is the time that the sacred fire, I had that unlocking. And so each song is kind of like the journal, and so, yeah, the album really holds that for me, for this chapter of my life over the last 9 years.
And talk to us about songwriting. What does that process look like for you? Are you just alone writing? Does it come as, a one inspiration of words that then forms a song? Yeah, how is that for you?
Each song is its own spirit. So, like people, everybody, different personalities. And so, always the guitar comes first. When I used to write, it would be usually if I was playing guitar and playing songs I knew, and then towards the end of a session, all of a sudden, like some kind of chord progression would come through. But some songs, they come in all the way. The spirit enters, and I write it in that sitting, and it's complete. Other songs, it takes months, and I'm learning, and I actually can't progress in writing the song until I actually learn the lesson that the song is teaching me first. And then as soon as I realize, because it's inviting me to unlock something, as soon as I finally realize that, then all of a sudden it completes the line or something. So it fluctuates. It's just they all have different personalities.
Oh, I just got chills. Yes, feeling the different energies of the music. Yeah. So if you could now talk to us about how you use music to connect, to, your ancestors, to your ancestral line, as we're talking about this time. This is the time when the ancestors have the ability to communicate with us, when the veil is thin, when we can honor them in fullness. Can you talk to me about how music plays a part in that for you?
Yeah, of course. And one song in particular is really an example of kind of how profound just these songs, the intelligence within them, and also like how much it's not me. But my song El Sueño, it came to me one day. I just had this vision of these two grandmothers, and I knew that they were my ancestors. And one of them was from Africa, one of them was indigenous from Turtle Island. And I was just shown like this scene, and just saw the picture, and I basically just had to kind of be in that vision and look around and gather the information and then put it into the words. And then even for one of the grandmothers that came, I couldn't seem to figure out what I was exactly trying to track. And it took me a while. It took me a few days to like keep going into that vision and looking around. And finally I realized that I was meant to look up. And as soon as I looked up, I saw the eagle circling above her. And the teaching within that was perspective. And so then I knew how to complete the line of that song. And so that was me receiving the song based on an ancestral vision. And then maybe like a year later, some time later, my grandmother was moving in with my mom. And so my mom was going through her stuff, and I inherited her box of sacred items and tarot cards, and she did a lot of dream work. And in that box, I found a dream she had written down, and her dream correlated with the visions that I had had. Yeah. And that's why the song is called The Dream. Because like it came to me as just ancestral visions, and then to find out later my grandmother, my mother's mother, had a dream that she had tracked. And so this was in her like last year, her time of transitioning, and I would play her the song. And she didn't know, we never talked about it, but I would play her the song and she would get emotional, and I played it for her while she was also transitioning in her last days. So just to show how deep and just the intelligence of these songs.
Ay, presente. What was her name?
Ann Mason.
Ann Mason, presente. Well, would you mind sharing El Sueño with us? Tlazokamati.
medicina de águila, la lanza me da fuerza y me ayuda a manifestar. El águila me da perspectiva y me ayuda a ver todo. El viento sopla las plumas de mi corazón, de mi corazón. El viento trae las canciones de mi amor, de mi amor.
Eso. The voice of Winter Jendayi. I'm Xotchitl Bernadette Moreno, and you are listening to La Onda Bajitas Radio Café. That was the song El Sueño. What a beautiful, beautiful dream. Yes, may the ancestors be present in a good way. Nikanka, presente. Winter, I'd love now to speak about some of your works when you're not playing guitar and transmitting spirit through music. I know that spirit moves through you in many other ways, and there are many offerings that you bring to the world. Could you share a bit of the work of Altar de Coscatlan and how you move in this great, great world?
Yeah, Altar de Coscatlan is really just the place that I hold all my work under, just to have it be less personal to myself and to give it the altar, to hold all of the offerings and bring them all together. And so what's really rooted in all the work that I hold is the directional teachings of the medicine wheel, the 7 directions. And I weave those in so many different ways, whether it's in ceremonial offerings for community to honor the seasons, honor the energies that are present for that time of year. So sometimes it looks like that. I also have a one-to-one mentorship program, which is a 6-month container where I'm working personally with each person and sharing these teachings of the medicine wheel and of these ways of life, and then also being there to support how one applies those teachings to actually become a structure and a system in which to live and navigate. And I always speak about this of becoming the altar of our own life, and that we are at the center, and the more that we can do our own work and tune in within, then that's what we send out, and that's how we cultivate a prayerful path. And so that's kind of the thread of all my offerings, but it can look like a mentorship, or it can look like a ceremonial offering, maybe with cacao, maybe a drum journey, always weaving music into it. rites of passage offerings also to honor different initiation moments in someone's life. Be holding space for someone soon who wants to step into an initiation or passage of just womanhood. She's 18. And so just marking these really important moments that in our society have been kind of erased in a lot of ways, and just bringing that back, and just the magic and medicine of the earth, and how can we bring that forward. So that's the thread of all that I offer.
So important that there's someone to help usher in these new times of our lives, and to help guide, because I think that I know for me, I really value the people that have stepped into my life as teachers or as guides, and we all need those. And so what a blessing that you offer that and can share that with people. So listeners, if you feel called, know that connecting to Winter's album, Y los Sagrados, is not the only way to connect with her medicine and her magic. Yes. So in that idea that, we all have to go through different stages and moments of learning, I know that you're about to step into some travels and some time of study. Can you share with us a little bit about, what's coming next for you?
Yeah. And so also just as one example of what it even means when I speak about these earth-based teachings and like how to integrate it. So for example, for so many years, the winter months, which I understand to be the time of introspection and the cocoon and going inside, and those are the months that I dedicate to my study. The rest of the year, there's more offering and output from me into the world, but the winter is the time where I can really go in and tend to myself and study, which keeps the necessary balance in the work, to remain a student always at the same time. And so I'm really looking forward to going to Brazil for a little over 2 months coming up. And there I will be studying with some of our indigenous relatives. And from there, going to a festival that will also have a lot of just different indigenous leaders, and just to be able to heal and receive. It doesn't always mean that the study is active. You're not necessarily sitting there with a notebook or something, but just the experience and the transmissions, being in that, having that be surrounded, things get soaked up. And then at the end of the travels, as I do every year, I'll be going to the moon dance there for my 7th year. So.
Oh, well, congratulations and so many blessings on your path, on your studies. My time, the 3 months I was able to spend in study with the Yawanawa people, gave me the fortalessence to meet the moments that I'm facing now. And I wish for that and beyond, that for you, that study, that time, that growth, and just that breathing can really give new life to all that is to come. And I am so excited to see what's on the other side.
Thank you. Me too. The music is always just a reflection of where I am in my journey. So this album really documents this first part where it's all finger picking. I didn't really strum, but now after all this time sitting with the Huni Queen, the strum has come, and so I look forward to really cultivating that and having that as the next wave of my evolution with music.
Well, I'm sure our ears and airwaves will be blessed by that. So as we are bringing our time to a close, I would love to invite in El Corazón de Fuego. This is a song that really got me inspired and really helped me remember some of just the different ways that the Mexica path can also embody other traditions and other elements as well. How the Lakota and the Mexica can work together and play off each other, and I feel that that's so present in my life and the life of so many in my community. And I was hoping that we could end with Corazón de Fuego.
Yes, such a warm song, a fiery song. And I do want to share that some of the lyrics in here are coming from a traditional song that I learned within the teepee Native American church. And so just to say that part, just to give honor to that, and that then the rest of the lyrics are all woven in with my own. So, yeah.
Toda mi vida yo te he buscado y en este fuego aquí yo te he encontrado. Vida yo te he buscado y en este fuego te he encontrado. Mi vida yo te he buscado y en este fuego aquí yo te he encontrado. Yo no hene yo yo no hene yo no hene yo no dentro de la tierra, yo te culé en el cielo, huevete yo dentro de la tierra, la madre tierra con el corazón del fuego, Pachamamita con todo su amor, yo no gene yo te culé en el cielo, huevete yo dentro de la tierra, yo te culé en el cielo, huevete yo dentro de la tierra, la madre tierra con corazón del fuego, Pachamamita con todo su amor, yo no gene searching for I find here in this fire. All of my life, all I've been searching for I find here in this fire. Fire of the earth, fire of the stars, fire of the earth, fire within my heart. All of my life, all I've been searching for I find here in this fire. All of my life, all I've been searching for I find here in this fire. Fire of the earth, fire of the stars, fire of the earth, fire within my heart.
Eso. The voice of Winter Jendayi here on KPFA's La Onda Bajitas Radio Café. I am Xotchitl Bernadette Moreno with a very, very warm heart coming from that corazón de fuego. Eso, Tlazokamati Winter. Yes. Oh, my good listeners, my dear, dear relatives, we are coming to a close of this time, and I'm sure that your ears are buzzing and vibrating from all of these blessings. And Winter, if you could share with our listeners how they can connect to you, how they can connect to Altar de Coscatlan, how they can tejer with these hilos sagrados, how can they weave with these sacred threads, your new album.
I'm so grateful that the day has come that I can really share that it's available on all streaming platforms. So looking up my name, it's on Spotify, Apple Music, and to spell my name, Winter like the season, and then Jendayi, Jendayi. And so you'll find it at that name through on whatever streaming platforms. I also released the album on Bandcamp. And Bandcamp is a really great platform that supports independent artists. And there it's a little bit more personal. You're able to purchase the album. It's just $13 and really download it and have it. And then there's also a big note that's really just the letter and the words that I wanted to express with this album and just really giving thanks. So Bandcamp is a more personal place for that and also under my name, but it is available on all streaming platforms. And then for my work, my offerings, Altar de Coscatlan, ALTARDEKOSKATLAN. So that's also my Instagram handle where I promote everything, but also that's a website. So if you do altardecoscatlan.com, that's where you'll find my altar. And there it has all of my offerings and also links to my music.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so excited. And for our listeners' pleasure, we'll actually be, once we close our time here, going out with a song, Ondas do Mar. And that's also a little ode to La Onda Bajita, the show. And if you could just say some few words about that song.
This song is really special to me. The album really contains songs of the spiritual journey, and even though they capture so much, there's a spiritual study really in them. And this song really holds the emotional pillar of the album. It's to the waves of the sea, singing to Yemanja, and these salt waters within us, such as our tears. So this song is the only one on the album that really came through from very excruciating pain and heartbreak and grief. But it's so beautiful. It's important that this album captures the wholeness of our human experience, and I'm so grateful to have this captured, to have the sounds of the waves there, and just to hold that pillar of the waters. So just inviting everyone as you listen, to maybe allow it to bring you into your internal waters, your feelings, the softening, and just really receive the medicine. Because as I sing in the song, we have the salt waters, which is our tears, but at the same time, salt is purifying. Salt is can help us heal. And so also, if there's something that you want support with in healing and that you can connect with, allow the song to help you.
Ondas do mar, ondas do mar, espuma do mar, espuma do mar, ondas do mar, ondas do mar, espuma do mar. Espuma do mar, conchas chama, conchas me chamam, conchas chamam, estrelas do mar me me chama de sonhos profundos, lágrimas nos meus olhos, chorando para minha mãe me abraçar. Oh, doia, oh, doia, oh, doia, Iemanjá. Ondas do mar, ondas do mar, espuma do mar, espuma do mar, ondas do mar, ondas do mar, espuma do mar, espuma do mar. Conchas chamam, conchas me chamam, conchas chamam, estrelas do mar me chamam, gido para a cura, para lavar a tristeza, água salgada para purificar. Oh, doia, oh, doia, oh, doia, Iemanjá, Iemanjá. Oh, doia, rainha do mar, sua música me cura, suas ondas me purificam. Ondas do mar, ondas do mar, espuma do mar, espuma do mar. Minhas lágrimas voltam para você, e se torna mais espuma de sua saia que beija a costa de novo dia, sua saia que beija a costa de novo dia. Você me segura e eu sorrio. Você me segura e eu sorrio. Oh, doia, oh, doia, oh, doia, Iemanjá, Iemanjá, oh, doia. Ondas do mar, ondas do mar.
It's the Siwat. Yes, the woman of the salt waters. Yes. Thank you. Oh, Winter. What a blessing to have brought your music to our airwaves, to this space, to these ondas. If you would please close our time with a blessing.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this connection. I really appreciate you and the invitation to be here. So thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. It's such a dream come true to even reach this point that I know that you're listening to this. So thank you for sharing this moment of my journey and my path. And I hope that it touches you and inspires you in some way. And just wanting to give thanks to all of the elements and all of the directions and all of the nations around the world, all of our indigenous traditions, and give thanks to all of those traditions which have been woven into this album, all the pillars that these songs are holding, all of my ancestors as well. And just giving so much gratitude for that path of remembrance, that path of awakening, and that internal, that seventh direction of within of the heart, which is just really holds all the wisdom that we seek. And may all of us find that journey within ourselves where we can receive all that we need. So giving gratitude in that way to the medicine wheel, and thank you so much. Lasokamati.
Matlasokamati, no chansiwat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was Winter Jendayi coming to us for this week's edition of Radio Olin, Radio Café, here on KPFA's La Onda Bajita. I'm your host, Xotchitl Bernadette Moreno. Thank you so much for tuning in, mi gente. Muy buenas noches. Makwali uwali. And that's a wrap.